Great insight.
Mhm.
Okay, it's we have a half hour in. Is that okay with you? Can we go forward?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So again, um, how does this universality, how does it relate to self-consciousness?
Um, Universality and self-consciousness.
Oh, let me put it this way.
Can you rephrase? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I meant to say, how does universal consciousness relate to self-mastery?
Well, when you realize that you like this is it, you are it. I have a hard time explaining this concept. It's very deep, but you when you realize that the world you're experiencing right now, this is God, this is it, this is universal consciousness.
Hmm.
You realize that you have so much power, and you're creating the world. You're contributing something to the world that you are going to experience yourself through other people's eyes eventually. So it makes you feel more powerful, because you realize you're a creator. You're just like God. You're made in the image of God. You are a creator. And when I came to that realization, I just felt so invincible, like so powerful, like nothing can hurt me. Even if something hurts me in the physical world, I'm indestructible basically. Mm, I can, like, nothing affects me like that much anymore, because I realized that the physical world is just temporary, and it's my own making also. So if that makes sense.
Yeah, great. I'm just
Hmm.
you're like that's fantastic, man. I mean,
Hmm.
you're on the path. You're further along than a lot of people. It's
Hmm.
refreshing, very refreshing. So now, um, how do you translate this your Lubnaism into your work, into your daily life, for example?
Um, well, I'm planning to go to medical school in the
Oh,
fall, and I worked really hard in college and after college, but also, like, in addition to my studies, I enjoy the arts. I like photography, and I like just writing my thoughts and reading a lot of books, especially on the topic of philosophy and spirituality. And I think this translates to my life. Like, the things I've learned about in spirituality translate to my life, as I said, because they inspire me to be more selfless, and to contribute to the world in a way that will come back to me eventually. So I want to help other people. I'm It made me a lot less selfish, I guess. When we're younger, we're kind of like selfish. We don't care as much. I mean, not everyone is like this, but I mean, when you're younger, you don't realize that um, it's not all about you. But as I said, this
not. I thought
whole
it's always about me. What are you talking about?
no, it's like, it makes me realize that I'm a part of something much bigger, and everything I do comes back to me in a way. But it it's really hard to explain. It just made me more selfless and
It makes you
more.
feel good.
Yeah, it makes me feel good.
So now,
Yeah.
again, let me ask you the question another way. How does this tie into self-mastery?
Hmm.
Because you're feeling good, you're doing good, you're going to go
Hmm.
forward. But how does that relate to self-mastery? Like we have self-actualization, self-realization.
Hmm.
But what is, what's how does that what you're doing? How does it relate to self-mastery?
um Self mastery, I think what it means to me, from I've read a lot of work of Ralph Waldo Emerson and
Yeah,
Henry David Thoreau, who are
yeah,
transcendental authors,
yeah.
American authors from 1800s. And uh, I think they emphasize the idea of being disciplined, and um, being very self-reliant, I guess. And that like their ideas really taught me that self mastery has to do with being um very disciplined, and um being in control of who you can be, and only like focusing on the things you can control, because sometimes we perceive that some things happen to us and we blame it on other people, we
Yes.
blame others, but you have to when as as I was saying about the idea of universal consciousness, everything that is perceived to be happening to you is actually your own self doing it, like it's of your own doing. You're causing it to yourself basically. And
Yes.
just this idea that, like, giving up the idea of being a victim all the time
Yes.
really helps with self mastery. Like, I realize, like, I'm in control, I'm more powerful than I think I am. And whenever I feel like someone has done something wrong to me or hurt me in a way, I tell myself, I just like change my attitude toward it, and I tell myself that this is an experience that the universal consciousness is giving me, and I it's not bad. It's something that I'm doing to myself, if that makes sense.
Well, yes, it does. So the question is,
Mhm.
why would you do that to yourself?
Um,
There
in order to learn a lesson, so I don't do
you
it to
go.
other
There you
people.
go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Hmm.
Speaking of Thoreau and those guys, what about William Blake? William Blake
Hmm.
says it's a beautiful day to die, right? You have to die each day, right?
Yeah.
What is
Hmm.
that? How does that? What does that mean?
I think it means like every day, like you. There was a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson or Henry David Thoreau, also that similar to that, where it's like treat each day as one, like treat each day as a life in and of itself. So
Oh, yeah, okay.
when I mean, don't quote me on it's not, I don't remember the exact words, but basically when you start the day, you have to tell yourself, like, this is a new beginning, like treat each day, each morning as a new beginning, and each day as an end. And then it really simplifies life a lot, like because if you're always carrying around the baggage from previous days, then
Yeah.
you don't, you can't really like live life in a
You're overweight. You got
beautiful
baggage.
way.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, exactly. So
So, like, do you have any friends who are in the same mindset as you?
not really. You see, I'm 24 years old, almost 25, and a lot of people like my age aren't really into spirituality, unfortunately. I don't really have many friends my age. Most of my friends are older than me and have thought about the concept of like death and consciousness and spirituality and awakening, I guess. But a lot of yeah, I don't have many people my age that I can talk with about these things. So it's more of just something I connect with people through like social media, with the same interests as me in. Yeah.
So now, what do you think about the Saturn return cycle every 28 years? Is that anything that's happening in your life?
I'm not really into astrology. Like, I don't know much about it, and I know that, like, about Mercury retrograde and stuff. I don't know much about
Well,
the
every
details of
28
yeah.
years, the planet
Hmm.
Saturn, it goes back to your natal
Hmm.
position where you were born. And what happens
Oh,
is
okay.
it'll happen at least 3 times in your life.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived through 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that each time there's an upheaval in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something that happens to people. Like
Mm-hmm.
before you become 24, 25, life is like the pip, the pip, the pip, the pip. But then around 25, it's like pip, pip.
Hmm.
It slows down. Something happens. You can't get the same rhythm you used to get.
Right.
But it goes away. It takes about 4 years to do that. But then you go into your 30s and it's a new life. It's a new life. And then you go into your late 50s. It happens again. And then, so
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I thought I'd just ask. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're not doing it.